Luke Egan, a past champ here at Cloudbreak, one of the best surfers and goofy footers of all time, has been working with Caroline for multiple years, along with guys like Mike Parsons as well. Strong stable coming into this Final Five this year and making some incredible equipment for the majority of this practice session is Matt Biolos. Congrats once again, Matt, on winning your third straight Vissla CT Shaper Rankings title. Matt joins us over on the island of Tavarua.
Hi there, guys.
Hi,
Thanks,
good morning. Yeah, good to see you.
Happy to be here. Good to be seen.
Yeah. This is a really obvious, like one of your favorite parts of the year, especially with all you've accomplished with your incredible team at Lost. And we've got a lot of surfers to talk about with you, you know, starting with Caroline Marks, you know, and her prep work for her Quiver for the WSL Final Five. What went into it? Does she have a lot of new boards, or a lot of boards that she saved throughout the season?
Caroline got 4, maybe 6 new boards for this event, all kind of based off of existing boards that she had liked in the latter half of the year. They kind of were supposed to be the backups. She had some boards she really liked for Tahiti, and then these were supposed to be backups, but she got on them, and I think she's going to end up riding the brand new ones.
And then
the 5.7, 5.8 range so far.
With Caroline, is she one of those athletes that has given you a ton of feedback, or does she kind of let you take the reins there?
You know, she's got some really good people behind her, really knowledgeable guys, Mike Parsons and Luke Egan. You know, they kind of get involved in and out during the year, but she's pretty conservative. She doesn't make drastic, radical changes in her boards, but her boards are kind of tuned a bit for her, a little lower on the tail rocker for her back foot power, and a little more bend in the nose for her somewhat like narrower stance. So, you know, there's some little adjustments that are specific just to her.
Matt, it's amazing to see how much attention you give to all of your team riders, because they all have different needs. How do you manage all that?
Well, you got to have really good people behind you and in front of me. I got Gian in front of me. He kind of filters a lot of the information and runs around and deals with it and makes it simpler for me. And then on the back end, we got our factory and guys there that are really good at everything they do. So it's a team, and we all work together, and I guess I get most of the credit, but there's a lot of people involved in doing it.
Hey, Matt, question for you. Who orders the most boards out of all your team riders on tour?
I would say Griffin. Yeah, Griffin's the most. Like I was saying the other day, I think Cole gets quite a few less because his boards are so thick they don't break as often.
Like, how many boards are we talking for grip per event, or really all year?
It's kind of like all year. You know, obviously you guys know as well as anyone that the tour is so diverse, the different kinds of waves, and then the free surfing they do, you know, during and in between events. They need it takes a lot, and obviously you have 10, 11 events, and they get 6, 8 boards an event. That's just like contest boards, and then there's free surf boards and fun boards and all sorts of stuff. They can get up close to 100 boards in a year, and it's a lot of work. The girls tend to be like less than half of that, though.
Now with Yago in the position that he's in, Matt, and I think some of his support crew right behind you there at the table, we're watching that bright yellow jersey find a nice exit in that barrel, finding some speed. Can you tell us a little bit about what Yago's riding right now?
Iago has been pretty locked into step drivers, but we've been sizing them down to the size of his normal driver 3s. So he's riding kind of like step ups that are sized down. But basically it means they have a little more continuous bend. They have less concave, lower rails, thicker in the center. So they're like tuned down for powerful waves to sit a little more lower and predictable in the water, rather than a driver 3.0, which is more like a lowers Gold Coast kind of performance board.
There's that replay flick. Yago going the distance on this thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this was pretty long tube for the conditions today, and I mean, he threads the needle here so well. You can see him. I mean, he's a big guy, and to fit into a tube like this and sort of, I mean, he's bending and maneuvering so well. I mean, look how tight that tube is, sort of shape shifting to fit into that one. He does really well to come out, so to say that's probably one of the better tubes that we've seen today.
Matt, you've been involved in a lot of, world title showdowns in the past. Obviously, you're MVP with Carissa Moore, winning so many titles over the years. Caroline recently. As a board builder yourself, you feel the pressure that they feel on tour, but how does that magnify in the world title race when you've got this one-day event in the final 5? Do you feel the pressure, and does your team feel the pressure of making the best board you can possibly can?
Well, there's always pressure on us as the board builders, me or any of the crews that are building boards for the surfers at this level. It's definitely pressure. It's kind of all year long. It's watching the heat. If there's a rail dig or a mistake made, you kind of feel it. Here on the island the last few days, you can see there's pressure with some of the surfers, and some of them just seem to be like cruising like effortlessly through the days. It's been a little bit of more of a Club Med vacation here with the small surf the last few days. But yeah, you can see some surfers wear it more on their sleeves, and some are like hiding it down deep. But they have to be feeling pressure, especially whether you're the bottom seed and you have a tall mountain to climb, or the top seeds where they have a target on their back. And it's high level sports. It's pressure.
It's interesting to see all the different needs that you have on your team, and then the big celebration of the best year for the career of Gabriela Bryan, as she's the #2 seed into this event. I know you guys did a ton of work in the off-season, increased the volume, and can you tell about her evolution with her surfboards through what's been a very successful year?
I think the evolution, well, that was a radical turn from Idolo. I think that the biggest evolution is more with Gabby herself than her boards. When Gabby made the tour, we kind of just started basing her boards off of Carissa's. They're good friends, and they have a somewhat similar technique. So, we didn't have to do a lot of work to get Gabby the right boards. We've increased volume, and she rides kind of a long ratio to her height. She rides boards every day that are maybe 4 inches longer than she is tall. But in general, I think the biggest evolution is with her, as a surfer and as a person. She's just improved so dramatically since she got on tour, where she can go fist to fist with anyone in the world, and proving it with 3 event wins this year.
As we now watch Dora throwing some water off the rails. Incredible year this year, winning in Portugal, lights out at lowers, using the left to his advantage. That's Biolos' home break. As we look at Gabby Bryan throwing some power as well, Flick.
Yeah, Gabby's looked sharp. I mean, it's the first wave I've seen of this second practice session, but even if I rewind to the first one, she's been pretty open about being, I feel like I'm a bit of an underdog, even though I've had the most event wins on, the CT this year for the women. Coming into this, I'm on my backhand, my tube riding, I feel like it's needed a little bit of work. But I mean, what I've watched in these practice sessions is I don't think she's an underdog. I think, she's just as powerful on the backhand as what she is on the forehand. And what we watched at Chopes and the evolution of her barrel riding in the last event only 2 weeks ago, I feel like her confidence is through the roof.
Very true. As we watch this last wave of Gabby Bryan, Matt, what are you seeing in her surfboard here?
She's riding a 6.0, which is like, for most people, it would be, like a proper gunny step up. It's probably 5 inches taller than she is. There's Caroline whipping it. So, Gabby's so strong, low center of gravity, so much power. She creates so much torque. She can ride a longer board and make it fit and do turns that most surfers couldn't do on a board that's that much taller than they are. But it also makes her turns kind of look bigger. It covers more ground, and the nose swinging out in front of her feet. It's definitely a strategic thing that she does.
Wow. Big blast there from Italo Ferreira, and just getting clipped late to that end section, as the 2019 world champ is always looking for 10s, whether it's a warm-up or the heat is on. Matt, talk to us a bit about Timmy Patterson, meeting him and hanging out with him for all these years.
Timmy Patterson is like a king guru in our town, and where we're all from. He's always been the most talented guy from start to finish. The guy was making blanks, designing blanks for Clark Foam when he was 20 years old. And as far as if you want to that was a beautiful term. If you want to design a blank, hand shape it, airbrush it, laminate it, glass it, sand it, and ride it the next day. I don't think anyone in the world can do that better than Timmy Patterson. And he's so open with all his techniques and all his little tool making and the way he goes about building surfboards. And you know, when I got started in the mid to late 80s all the way through the 90s, he's just, to watch him openly share all the things he's learned, because his father, you know, and his uncle grew up building boards since the 50s with Hobie and Phil Edwards and those guys. It's just, it's ingrained in his life and his blood.
Love that. A really cool connection there. I guess everyone in this practice session's on a board from San Clemente, California, majority here.
Yeah.
And a lot of boards from this man right here. We're talking to Matt Biolos. The tricky thing about this one, Matt, is, as you know, it's like Cloudbreak and then restaurants start popping up into the equation. So you're not just making a quiver for one wave, which is pretty standard on tour. There's big differences between restaurants and Cloudbreak and on what you might need tomorrow.
Yeah, Yago said he'd pretty much ride the same boards, you know, 6.0 or 6.1 steppy. You know, there's Gabby. And but Griffin said at restaurants he would ride a driver 3.0, and at Cloudbreak he'd probably ride like a whiplash or a step driver. I think that it's a lot smoother and more predictable wave at restaurants. So you could probably get away with riding like a typical shortboard, so you can really fit it in the pocket and get free to fins and do a little more playful, radical surfing, where watching Cloudbreak, it looks a lot more unpredictable and you know, more power and mix in the odd tubes. You want more of a board that you can really rely on if things kind of get sketchy.
Matt, I was hearing from Eric Arakawa a while ago, and he started bringing up stories about Michael Ho being one guy that pushed him more than anyone else as far as pushing him with his board building, where Michael Ho would be like, it's almost there. It's not there yet. It wasn't really the guys that said, yeah, it's a magic board every time. It's the one who's like, I demand another change. We're getting there. And he credits that relationship as one of the best in his board building career, as we see now Italo just threading another one going lightning fast. Matt, do you have someone like that who you credit of pushing you the hardest to become the world-class shaper you are today?
You know, the first one to really push me hard was Shane Beshin. I had a fun talk with him just yesterday. But, you know, I'd been building boards for Chris Ward, Corey Lopez, and some other, even Shea, for that matter, like in the mid-90s, and starting to learn how to work with, you know, really good surfers, even before that the Fletcher brothers. But it was actually Shane who really started pushing me and being almost like aggressive and ruthless in his critiquing of the boards. He was the one that like kind of took the gloves off and started challenging me to be better and be more engaged and involved and take that position as like, okay, I can make a career out of this. This is what I want to do. If I want to step in this arena and build boards for world-class surfers, it's really hard. But on the other end of the spectrum, talking about what Arakawa said and Michael Ho, I'm fortunate that this day and age, right now, I'm making boards for Michael Ho for like the last 15, 20 years. And to have a guy in his late 60s now, him and I share a birthday. I think he's 67 or 68. You know, he gets like 20 boards a year. He's always like super detailed, knows exactly what he wants. He's still charging backdoor on like 6.6 potato chip quad fins and surfing 1 foot monster mush all summer on little 510 epoxy swallowtail chips. So he's, you know, an incredibly inspiring human being, as his son and his awesome daughter Coco.
So cool, man. Love the chat, Matt. Always appreciate it. Best of luck, tomorrow with your team.
Thank you. Good job here, guys. Enjoying it.
Awesome. Having a blast. Matt Biolos, 3-time Vissla CT Shaper Rankings champion, and maybe his most devastating win this year. No one was close in the last couple events of the season. Really hard-working man with an incredible team that's behind him. As we look at the numbers from Lost Surfboards, look at all those points. Big congrats to Darren Hanley and the crew, led by Molly Picklum into the final 5. Sharp Eye always consistently in the mix with amazing talent like Jack Robinson, a part of the stable. Channel Island Surfboards, man, they look great. It kicked off with some big points with leaders like Baron Mamiya, and then JS Industries. I think that was just the rising message this year. A stable that's been around for over 2 decades, but just got so many hammers on the team now. Marco Mignot, part of that squad, taking Rookie of the Year this year.
And Kanoa as well. So that was really cool to see. I think that was probably, he'd been around for a really long time. He's had amazing surfers on the team, but sort of a bit more of a